But then there's the law firms that President Trump has been pushing around. 9 big law firms struck deals with Trump after he started issuing these bogus executive orders targeting certain law firms. 9 firms did deals. 4 firms refused to do deals. They fought back against him in court, and all 4 of those firms won their cases in court. Trump didn't even bother appealing them. But new reporting from Reuters finds that Trump's assault on law firms has nevertheless had what was presumably its desired effect anyway. All kinds of big law firms are now scaling back their pro bono work for the kinds of people and organizations and causes that the Trump administration has tried to victimize or persecute, which is a dynamic that big law in this country will never, ever, ever live down as long as they don't fix it. At the same time, though, there has been some bravery. Smaller law firms, and indeed some new purpose-driven legal organizations being formed even now, have been springing up to make up the moral difference, to do the work that these big law firms are too cowardly to do, to stand up for people who've been fired, for example, by Trump when they've done nothing wrong. The New York Times reports today on a new firm made up of just 4 lawyers, including 2 who were fired from the Justice Department this year by Donald Trump. The new firm is focusing on challenging the Trump administration in court, specifically with the aim of getting precedent-setting cases before the Supreme Court that could curtail Trump's power. But then also check this out. This is worth understanding, especially when we think about lawyers getting to the end of their lives and standing there deciding whether the elevator is going to go up or down. Another way that lawyers are trying to stand up for what's right is a means of using the legal profession's own standards, the legal profession's internal ethics and rules, as a way to stand up and push back against what Trump is doing. For example, the Freedom of the Press Foundation has taken on Trump's FCC chairman by filing a disciplinary complaint against him with the D.C. bar. Trump's FCC chair that has been bullying all these media companies, he's a lawyer. The complaint against him accuses him of violating professional conduct rules that he is bound by as a lawyer. Meanwhile, the D.C. Bar's disciplinary board has just recommended that former Trump lawyer Jeffrey Clark be disbarred from the legal profession entirely for his role in helping Trump try to overturn the 2020 election results. That board said Clark should be disbarred, quote, to send a message to the rest of the bar and to the public that this behavior will not be tolerated. On top of efforts like that, now a legal watchdog group has filed professional ethics complaints against 3 lawyers who currently work for Trump's Justice Department. A group called the Legal Accountability Center is accusing these 3 DOJ attorneys of lying to the courts, of making false statements to a federal judge while trying to defend Trump's actions in court. The group's executive director, Michael Teeter, says, quote, the rule of law is under direct assault right now, and its greatest threat comes when those within the legal system fail to do their duties and stand up against the attack. The message that needs to be heard by all attorneys representing the government is that even though the Trump administration isn't interested in following the rules, we're watching. Joining us now is Michael Teeter. He's executive director of the Legal Accountability Center. Mr. Teeter, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate your time.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Let me ask you how about my characterization of your efforts and the way that I've contextualized them against some of those other forms of pushback. Let me ask you if you think that's fair or if there's anything that I'm misunderstanding about your approach to these matters.
I think you've got it right. I mean, since day one, the Trump administration has been in a concerted effort to target the legal profession and to disrupt and weaponize it. We've seen that they are attacking 2 hallmark features of our third branch, which is an independent judiciary and an adversarial system that ensures that people have access to the courts and that they can be represented and to ensure their rights are protected. And the Trump administration is on an attack, and so we need to go on attack as well.
Tell me about these professional misconduct complaints that you filed against these 3 Justice Department lawyers. Can you just talk about why you singled out these 3, why you singled out their conduct as particularly egregious?
I think it's important to understand if you're a lawyer within the government, you have an obligation to tell the court the truth and to represent the law, not just the administration's political interests. And so it was important for us to take a stand here, not because this was Pam Bondi, not because this was Todd Blanche, people who you would expect to be following Trump's dictates, These were career lawyers who have been in the Department of Justice for a number of years, who are nevertheless misrepresenting facts to the court, disregarding their rules of professional conduct. And so they need to be held to account, and we need to send a message to lawyers across the country that if you're going to represent this administration, you better do it with integrity and honesty, and the rules of professional conduct require nothing less.
Let me ask you, Mr. Teeter, about what we've seen from the Trump administration in terms of trying to intimidate lawyers and law firms, and what we've seen in reaction from big law firms and lawyers. It's been a pretty wide range of reactions, including from the biggest and best resourced firms, a lot of cowardice. And a lot of effort to appease Trump, to make handshake deals with him that I guess they think are going to be binding, despite everything else we know about every other deal Donald Trump has ever done in business and elsewhere. I have to ask, given the way that he's focused on lawyers and given the way it's been so inconsistent in terms of the way the profession has responded, do you worry at all about being a practicing lawyer, about doing this as a legal organization, about getting lawyers to work on these complaints and work on these cases with you, given the way the legal profession has only sort of half stood up against this kind of bullying?
Honestly, yes, I do. I worry about it. I think a lot of my colleagues do as well. But there's a large group of lawyers who are dedicated to the principle, not about policy. It's not about left versus right. It's about the principle of fairness, about an independent judiciary, and the importance of ensuring that people have representation in a neutral judicial system. And so I think that what you're seeing are large firms who are beholden to clients, who are doing a short-term risk analysis for themselves, losing the larger picture, which is that each of these battles by the Trump administration, each of their attacks is not designed to win. They are moving the ball forward, and they recognize that even when they lose, they have changed the game. They have changed the field that they're playing on. So we need to stop worrying about engaging in asymmetrical constitutional warfare and engage with them the same way that New York and California are thinking about doing it with regards to redistricting. And I think that you're going to see a lot of lawyers willing to stand up. There's a reason why so many new groups are forming, Legal Accountability Center being one of them, and we're going to fight back. And we're going to go on offense in defense of democracy, not just be reactive.
Courage is contagious, as they say.